Okay, now we're looking at the center jig. Center jig, figure 11.24. 11.24, the center jig. Okay, call your attention to a couple things. We're going to learn how to rotate the UCS to draw on this surface right here. And notice that from here to here is counterclockwise. So when you see this angle right here, the angle here is 30 degrees. So when I get to that, remember that angle's 30 degrees and we're not coming off of this leg, we're coming off of this surface. Okay, so let's start drawing. First thing you want to do is always draw your base. Okay, so we're going to go up to a rectangle. We're going to go 0, comma 0. We're going to come in and we're going to tell it at the little at sign 4.12 on comma and then 3.50. 3.50. Okay, that's going to give us our base rectangle. Let's go ahead and extrude that. Pick that element, enter, and extrude it up. And we want to go up 0.5, a half a unit. Now there's a notch right here, okay? There's this little notch right here. Notice it's in the middle. It's in the middle, and it is a rectangular notch. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to change my UCS on my x-axis, X from the keyboard, enter, and it defaults to 90 degrees. There it is. We repositioned 90 degrees. So we're on this surface now. I'm going to zoom up a little. I'm going to do a rectangle. I'm going to pick a point, and that rectangle is at the little at sign 1, comma 0.125. There you go. See? Now I'm going to move. We have some properties that are common between this. We have a midpoint from the keyboard. I'm going to type in the word mid and then mid again, and then I'm going to put it down here. That's the middle of that edge. Extrude. Let's take that element and extrude it through. Subtract as we go. Main object, enter. Take this object out of it. Okay. Now, I want to draw a line across here, and I want to create that so that I can draw that sloped surface. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change my color, COLOR, and let's pick a color we can see. Let's take red. Okay, next we want to take the user coordinate system, the UCS, okay, and we want to lay it back into the world, normal. Then simply do a polyline from the midpoint of this element right here all the way across to the midpoint of this element over here. Enter. Okay. Now, shift, mouse wheel down gently, just so I can spin it around. You can see this red line. So we're just going to use this for construction purposes. We put the UCS back to world. We used the 2D poly. We went from the midpoint here to the midpoint there, straight across. That's going to give us the ability to define this sloped surface that we're going to need to work on. Very easy and very quick. So let's go back here. Let's take our UCS, and let's move the origin, OR for origin, UCS, origin, and then place it right here. That's all you want to do. It should look just like that. Now, we're going to do it in several steps. UCS from the keyboard, UCS, and you want the X 90 degrees. See how it stood up? It held the X, and rotate it around it. Now, we're going to press enter, which repeats the command, and we're going to go to the y-axis, and we're also going to turn that 90 degrees. So now you have your UCS like that. Except we got to tilt it back because there's an angle there. So you say UCS. This time you say X and negative 30 degrees. UCS X negative 30 degrees. Okay, remember, okay, from here to here, 60. We're looking at an angle this way. So this is 60, and you're straight up, that's a negative 30, tilt you back. Okay, I'm going to go back, and we're going to go back to white for the color. That's all we're doing. You don't need to change the colors if you don't want to, folks. Polyline. I'm going to pick a point. Now see, as I draw and my ortho's on, F8, my ortho's on, see how it follows my ortho? Follows that slope because that's the y-axis. And we want to go up 2.5, 2.5, okay? 2.5. Now I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to come from this corner here over to here. That's going to give me that rectangle. It'll stay on that slope, see? Now, I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to, from the keyboard, type in the word mid, M-I-D. That way I can pick the midpoint very easily. Let's do an extrude. This element and this element right here, okay? We're going to enter into minus 0.26. Minus 0.26, okay, because we want to go into our object. Okay, now before you join it, we've got to pull this face out another 0.24. So let's go up over here, and look for extrude face. Extrude a face. We can extrude a face. So this object here, okay, we're going to enter into minus 0.26. Minus 0.26, okay, because we want to go into our object. Okay, now before you join it, we've got to pull this face out another 0.24. Let's do an extrude. This element and this element right here, okay, we're going to enter into minus 0.26. Minus 0.26, okay, because we want to go into our object. Okay, now before you join it, we've got to pull this face out another 0.24. So let's go up over 0.2 ID. That way I can pick the midpoint very easily. Let's do an extrude. This element and this element right here, okay, we're going to enter into minus 0.26. Minus 0.26, okay, because we want to go into our object. Okay, now before you join it, we've got to pull this face out another 0.24. So let's go up over here, and look for extrude face. Extrude a face. We can extrude a face. Touch that. See how it highlights? Okay. Press enter until at 0.24. And then no taper, 0. Enter. And there it is. See? So let's go ahead and union that. We want to union this material and this material here. So we have one object. I'm going to do just a quick reference shade so you can see what we have. Okay. So we did an extrude surface on this and pulled this out, 0.24. And this one is a negative 0.26, which gives you the overall length of 0.5 is what this is here, overall thickness, okay? Double click on it a little bit there so we can see it. Now, we're still on this surface right here because our UCS is right here. I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle. Let's filter out the center of this element right here. Filter out the center of that element. And the inside ray diameter is 0.625, okay? That's the inside. Now enter at the little shift 2 at, let's filter out this, okay? Double click on it a little bit there so we can see it. Now, we're still on this surface right here because our UCS is right here. I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle. Let's filter out the center of this element right here. Filter out the center of that element. And the inside ray diameter is 0.625, okay? That's the inside. Now enter at the little shift 2 at references the last point. If the last point was the center of that, then we have it. And then we have D for diameter, and this is 0.88. I'm going to explain this to you just a second. That's a bushing that's going to extrude through this piece, and there's a hole that goes all the way through. So the first thing we want to do is extrude this piece right here. We want to give it a negative 0.74. Negative 0.74. So it'll go into our object. And it's going to go past the back. See how it goes past the back? Okay, let's union that. Let's union this and this. It's going to look a little different, but it's okay. It's going to look just like that. Now, let's extrude this and pull it all the way through and subtract that. Here's our main object, enter. Take this object out of it. So let's do a quick shade and you can see what we have. See? And there it goes through to the back. Looking good. We're feeling comfortable with what we're doing. Now we want to work on this area right here. We want to work on this area right here. So just take your user coordinate system, say OR for origin, and tell it to locate the center of either the larger or the smaller one right here. It doesn't matter. It'll stay in the same position and location. Now, again, I don't like my dialog boxes down here. I turn those off and I make sure that this dynamic UCS is off. The dynamic UCS. If you can't find them, click here, go up to dynamic input, and then it'll activate it in the status bar, then turn it off. It toggles on and off here. This just activates it. And there's the dynamic UCS, and there's the dynamic input. I want both of those off usually. Okay, let's go in here. Let's go back to wireframe. I'm a little bit comfortable with drawing in wireframe. Now, what we want to do is we want to move up from this point. We want to move up and draw on this area here. Okay, because from that area we have a line, and I'm just going to do a polyline, and I'm going to do a point from here, and I'm going to pull it out there. Okay, I'm going to offset that, and it says offset 0.5. Okay, I want to offset it this way, 0.5. Okay, so it goes up. Enter. Enter again. And this time I want to offset, and the distance that we're going to offset it is 0.375. So I'm going to pick this point and pull it over there, okay? Now we can do the same thing down here, offset 0.5, or we can mirror image it, whichever one easier for you. Enter, enter again, offset 0.375, and then pull this here. Okay, now I can move these. I simply just grab them like that, and you can move them across, straight across. Make sure your ortho's on though. You don't want to try to move them without ortho being on. You want to move them across, okay? Make sure your ortho's on. Click out here, don't click on your object and move it across, or draw the lines completely across. Now from this, I can draw my rectangles that I'm necessary that are required here, okay? Let's do an extrude. Let's look at this element and this element here. Enter. And let's tell it negative point and the depth of that extrusion. Let's look for it. Is 0.125. 0.125. Okay. And enter. Or draw the lines completely across. Now from this, I can draw my rectangles that are required here, okay? Let's do an extrude. Let's look at this element and this element here. Enter. And let's tell it negative point and the depth of that extrusion. Let's look for it. Is 0.125. 0.125. Okay. And enter. There we go. There we go. Now, there it is. See? So let's subtract it. Subtract main point and my rectangles that are required here. Okay. Let's do an extrude. Let's look at this element and this element here. Enter. And let's tell it negative point and the depth of that extrusion. Let's look for it. Is 0.125. 0.125. Okay. And enter. There we go. There we go. Now, there it is. See? So let's subtract it. Subtract main object, enter, take this one and this one out of it. We have these lines in here. So what do? We say E for erase at the command line, all elements, ALL, enter, R to remove. And let's touch our model and take it out of our model. Let's take a look, see how we're doing so far. So we go down, looks good. We're looking good, on track. Come back here. Now we're going to draw a slot here. Several ways to draw a slot. First, you want to move your UCS 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we moved it. I'm going to zoom up a little bit so we can see where we are. I'm going to use a polyline to construct this in here. Okay, let's do that. Let's draw a polyline. I'm going to pick a point. How far do we need to go in? We need to go in 0.8 first, okay? So we did 0.8. And then we're going to go over, shift, mouse wheel gently. Then we're going to go over here, 1.75. See? That's going to give me the middle, then 1 inch this way. Circle at the last point, and we're going to look at the radius of 0.5. 0.5. Boom. There. Okay. So, several you can see where we are. I'm going to use a polyline to construct this in here. Okay, let's do that. Let's draw a polyline. I'm going to pick a point. How far do we need to go in? We need to go in 0.8 first, okay? So we did 0.8. And then we're going to go over, shift, mouse wheel gently. Then we're going to go over here, 1.75. See? That's going to give me the middle, then 1 inch this way. Circle at the last point, and we're going to look at the radius of 0.5. 0.5. Boom. There. Okay. So let's go over here. I'm going to just take another polyline just for guidelines. I'm going to point this direction 2 units. Circle. At the last point, diameter is already in there. I'm going to create a line and I'm going to snap to the quadrant. So I said L for line, Q for quadrant. I typed it in from the keyboard. QUA, keyboard, QUA. It's the same equivalent as hitting your shift right mouse button. Again, line, shift right mouse button. There's your quadrant right there. Shift right mouse button and you can go to the quadrant, or you can simply type it in from the keyboard. Now, trimming it up. Let's trim it up. Let's cut out what we don't need. We don't need these 2 elements, okay? And we really don't need our guideline anymore. So let's erase that. Let's take this out that we use for a guideline. So we have our shape in here. Okay. Now you noticed, boom, boom, boom. Let's go in here. We can do 2 things at this point. We can make a polyline, or we can make a boundary with a polyline, or we can make a region. However, I want to make a polyline. I'm going to use p-edit. It's going to give my end results quicker. I'm going to say p-edit. Yes. J to join. Then I'm going to join this, 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 and this. Okay. Now I can use the offset command because the difference between the radius of 2 and the radius of 0.2. So 0.3. So let's say offset. Let's say 0, 3. Let's see if that works. Sorry, 3 units. 3 units, 0.3. If we click on this, can we go to the inside? And there it is. Again, undo. I used pedit. I said P-E-D-I-T from the keyboard. I touch this line right here. It says it's not a polyline. Do I want it to be? I said yes. Then I join those segments together. Okay. Now I have a polyline there. I can use the offset command. I can set the distance at 0.3. I can simply touch this and move it to the inside. And there it is. There it is. Now, let's do this. Let's extrude. Let's take this and we want to go up. What's the height? 0.125. Okay, there we go. Now you remember our slot's down here and not here. We can move this, folks. We can move this very easily. See, it's at the bottom of this slot. So I'm going to say move. I'm going to touch that. And I'm going to type in from the keyboard center. And I'm going to touch the center of my element and then say center of the top. Go up here to the top to reference it now. Now that's going to reference the geometry here. So now we're on the top of the surface. Extrude, grab this element, enter, pull it through, and let's say subtract. Main object, enter, take this object, whoops, out of it. Okay, there we have it. We're going to come back over here, do a conceptual, double click on the mouse wheel, hold the hand on the shift key, and you can see it's starting to take shape. Now on the back here, on the back here, you have two ribs. You can see them right here. One's right here, and the other one is symmetrical on the other side, exactly the same distance. That's what SYM means. So I'm going to take my UCS, put it back up, see them right here. Double click on the mouse wheel, hold the hand on the shift key, and you can see it's starting to take shape. Now on the back here, on the back here, you have two ribs. You can see them right here. One's right here, and the other one is symmetrical on the other side, exactly the same distance. That's what SYM means. So I'm going to take my UCS, put it back up. I'm going to change my viewpoint to 3:15:30 so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to put it here, and then I'm going to go back into my wireframe. Here we go. Now I do know that I need to come in 0.375 here, and it's going to come over there somewhere. I'm going to draw, I'm going to change the color, 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 and we're going to go with the cyan. Hopefully that's going to be visible. Now I want to draw a polyline. I want to start here, and I want to pull it in 0.375. Okay, there it is. There it is. It's in 0.375. That's going to be the distance that's going to come off. Now that's not the distance it is. Now I want to come over here from the center. This is the center. The center of this line comes down through here. So let's look at it. That's 1 unit. So I'm going to create a polyline. I'm going to get the midpoint of this element. I'm going to pull it over this direction, and it's 1 unit. 1 unit. Then I'm going to pull it out there, okay? Pull it out, doesn't matter. I have another point, and I'm going to pick it from there. I'm going to go 1 unit. It's 2D polyline. Excuse me. Undo that one. Sorry. I'm going to create another polyline. We're 1 unit. From the center here, we're 1 unit. Now we want to get the thickness of the web, which is 0.38. Okay. So now we have it up. Okay. Now if I click on this and do a polyline, you're going to see a rectangle starting there. Okay? That's the rectangle. Okay. So there is the rectangle we're needing. Polyline. Let me grab that. Pull it back through here. There we go. There it is. I'm going to tilt it, shift mouse, so we can see. Now, we have the base, but there's no extrude to an edge. In other words, if we extrude this rectangle, when it hits here, we have to know where to stop it. Unlike the parametric packages that we've worked with, Inventor, SolidWorks, you can extrude to an edge and it'll blend for you. This one won't. So we're going to manually have to do it. Watch how easy this is. Pick your UCS, okay, and you want to pick 3 points. 1 right here, 2 right here, and the third one there. You should have a cursor that looks like this now. See it? Watch how easy this is. Pick your UCS, okay, and you want to pick 3 points. 1 right here, 2 right here, and the third one there. You should have a cursor that looks like this now. See it? Okay. If we come back in and we use a polyline, and you find this point right here, you can pull that polyline past the top, past far up as you can, okay? Now, there we have it. We can put the UCS back, show you what we've got. So we've got a line, zoop. We've got a line following this path because we put our UCS 1, 2, 3, went up this direction. We got this rectangle in this direction. Now we just need a line from here up to here. So there's our UCS. So let's say UCS, 3 points. Let's line it up. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to say UCS OR for origin, because all I want to do is move it to this intersection right here. This intersection right here, okay? See, the X goes this way, the Y goes that way. Let's go back in here. Let's see if we can do kind of a hidden line review. There it is, see? All I did was move the UCS from here to here. We drew this with a 2D poly. Now, all I've got to do is come over here, grab a point of the intersection, because that's in the y-axis, right here. Let's do it this way a little bit. Let's go back over here. Here. Okay. And let's get a polyline. Now from this intersection, just pull it up as far up as you can. Make sure it does intersect. See? There's the intersection. I don't know if that's a better color. Let's go with blue. See? Blue. Let's see what it looks like conceptual-wise. Doesn't look very good though. Here it is. You got a blue triangle in there. That's what we created. Okay. Now it's very easy. You can use a polyline. You can go from this intersection, this endpoint, and then close it off. Okay. You can also go in your top view like this, since you have the polyline, and you can come over here to draw boundary. Pick a point. Boom. See how I picked a point? There's your polygon right there. Either way, you're going to have a polygon. You can do a P line, edit it, or do that. Okay, let's do this. Let's look at it this way. And let's go ahead and extrude. Extrude. Take this element, or the enter, and I can pick it here, or you can tell it 1 or whatever to give it that distance. So let's do a conceptual so you can see it. There it is. Wireframe. Now, I want to take this when my UCS, put your UCS back to world, okay? Because we're going to mirror. Mirror. I'm going to select this item, and I'm going to mirror from this midpoint right here all the way to that midpoint right there. Okay, enter. Now let's join those in. Let's join this, this, and this. Enter. Okay, now let's erase all elements, R to remove, and let's keep our model. Okay, let's shade it to see what we have. We're looking good, looking really good. Let's change our viewpoint, VP, 31530, bring it back around. Now, although there's a whole bunch of fillets in here and everything, that's not necessary for this drawing assignment. However, you do want to save this drawing. You do want to save this drawing. Do use your radiuses. It says radiuses, and it says the radiuses are 0.125, okay? I would like you to radius these corners here. This one here. I'm going to come in here and go to the wireframe. I'm going to go into your fillet command. Your radius is set there. Touch this corner, enter. This corner, enter. There they are, see? Radius is here. This one here. I'm going to come in here and go to the wireframe. I'm going to go into your fillet command. Your radius is set there. Touch this corner, enter. This corner, enter. There they are, see? I'm going to spin it around on the back so you can see it. I'm going to use the fillet command. First touch the corner, then enter, then touch the edge you wish to round over, not the two lines making the edge or defining the ledge. I'm going to turn. Come back around to the front here, and we're going to do another fillet. And this fillet is going to involve this one right here. So touch it, enter. Now it got both of these, so we got to be careful. So let's go back to your fillet command. Let's touch this one, enter, touch this one back here, and this one right here, and then press enter, and then it fillets your command. You can fillet this one if you want to. Again, I want you to fill it all around in the back here, just some of the fillets. Enter and enter again. What we have now, double click on your mouse wheel, we have the finished product of your conceptual design. You're going to use one of these to lay out. I'm going to need some of these drawings laid out, okay? This is a nice one because it has an auxiliary view. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Base, from Model Space, touch your item, press Enter, and then we're going to tell it 2D underscore ORTHO, ortho, 2D ortho. Okay. We're going to come in. We're going to place one view here, enter, a top view here, enter. And then we're going to make 2D underscore ORT. It has an auxiliary view. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Base, from Model Space, touch your item, press Enter, and then we're going to tell it 2D underscore ORTHO, ortho, 2D ortho. Okay. We're going to come in. We're going to place one view here, enter, a top view here, enter, and then we're going to make an auxiliary view off of that. Okay, let's back up. Again, base, AutoCAD, model, 2D, ORTHO. Made a mistake. Let's just correct it real quick. I'm going to push one here, enter. I want my top view here, my right side view here, and my isometric in the corner here. Right mouse button once you place your views and enter. Okay, now this one, click, of course. You want to view edit and you want to show only your visible lines. But you notice, okay, what we really need is see that's an elliptical shape, We don't have anything, so I need a auxiliary view. It's going to be normal to this surface right here so that that's round. So let's see how to do that, okay? Let's make an auxiliary view. Let's go back out of this, back into our model. Let's come in there and let's get on this face because this is what you want the auxiliary view. You want it normal to the screen. So we say UCS, and then I can say F for face, and I can come over here and touch it like that. Enter, enter again. Okay, enter again. There we go. UCS, F for face. Let me get it again here. This face, accept. Okay. Again, this is why I like the 3 points. It allows me more control over it. So I'm going to get back on this face right here. I'm going to say UCS, enter, UCS OR for origin, and the center of this element right here. Now, UCS, UCS, x-axis, 90 degrees, UCS y-axis, 90 degrees, UCS x-axis, minus 30 degrees. That's what we had at the first. Okay? And this is why I like my 3 point center. This is why the UCS, enter, UCS OR for origin, and the center of this element right here. Now, UCS, UCS, x-axis, 90 degrees, UCS y-axis, 90 degrees, UCS x-axis, minus 30 degrees. That's what we had at the first. Okay? And this is why I like my 3 points better than I like trying the other elements. Now, let's go in, type in the word plan. After you get your UCS on that surface, type in plan view and it's going to be current. Notice your circles are not elliptical shape, they're true circles. Now we go into base, from model space, touch this, enter. You're going to go back to 2D layout. Now it comes in looking like that. So you want to come down to orientation and you want to go to current. Okay, and you want to move it up right about here and then press enter. And there's your surface. See how the circles are circles and not elliptical shapes. This is an auxiliary view normal to that surface. So we're going to click on it. We're going to come back to edit view and we're going to go to visible lines. Okay. Now, when you're through, of course, put your title block on it. Put you some dimensions on it. I'm not looking for all the dimensions, but I'm looking for some dimensions. And then submit this drawing file. Okay, so all you've got to do is insert your title block, place some dimensions on it, and you'll be finished. Okay, thank you.